Howdy, people. Welcome to May 24th, 2022. I think it's May 24th. Sounds about right. You're probably, it might seem like the same day since I'm probably wearing like similar gear, but this is all in my my get rich not quick scheme. So, I am in Island Park. As far as me purchasing anything, I think I've already purchased everything that I've had to for my work season. So then that way, like, I have that off my book, all my gears bought, all my vitamins, supplements, my beet powder, my neem powder, my turmeric, whatever it is, the concoctions that I drink, assorted concoctions that I drink on a daily basis to keep me healthy. So this is just a check-in. I guess like what I'm doing right now is that I have this journal here, and so like I have my journal, my goals journal, which is different. And actually I spilled coffee on it yesterday. Sorry. What I really need to do is I do have one of those little tripods, but I don't ever bring it out. But so like I have my goal planner here that I got for myself back in October 2021. So at the end of last year, bought it early. I was all excited about it and being a super Capricorn and filling it out like early, and I had to make myself stop. And then so like I have that one, so that's kind of like more like dream planning and stuff like that, like big picture. And this here, my tools for wisdom that I bought for years now at a time, is the one and where I actually, I guess, like break things down into practical steps. So you can tell if a person were to not know me and just like go say like through this one that I showed with the phoenix on it, you could kind of see it would be evident as to what was going on in my life maybe, or what was not going on in my life. So like what I mean by that is that like I'm looking through it, I have things written down for January, because it'll break it down into like, so say every month, it has like the general calendar, and then I'm gonna have to get my laptop out one day. My speed over here in the mountains is really slow for that though, but I would like to do a screen share. And if you, my business isn't very exciting, so I'm not opposed to sharing it, whatever. There's nothing super juicy in here. So like, but if you were to see in January, I have my 5 goals written down, because from my big dream plan or whatever, I have to take it down into actionable steps. And then so on a month to month, there's like, say like 3 to 5 things that I work on changing or improving, modifying, whatever it is that you want to call it, or introducing into my life, as well as removing into my life. And yes, that does include relationships. And when I say relationships, it's not, I say relationships in terms of just my interactions and exchanges with people, not necessarily referring to romantic relationships. And then so you go to February, and I have stuff written down, including all my account balances and my growth, month over month. And then like so there's March, I have stuff, I say stuff, my goals written down. And then April, my calendar kind of goes not blank, but it's not as filled in, say, as it was for the month of January. And so with that, you can see the status of my life, and then how things are kind of not falling apart, but not as organized as they once were. And so I bring this up, if this makes any sense at all, because I'm like, when I stick to I'll say my planner, when I stick to my planner, my life, I feel, say, like more empowered, a lot more organized. My thinking is definitely a lot cleaner. And what I mean by that, and actually that was the reason, what prompted me to record this video, was because what was it, on today's Monday, so on Sunday night, and I was like, oh geez, this is gonna be a long season, it's gonna be challenging. And none of these travels and work experiences, it might seem fun, and some of it is like, I meet a lot of like really interesting people and stuff, and that are like in different stages of their life, different ages in their life, and people take these seasonal jobs for different reasons. I'm working with the girl that she makes me think I'm funny. So I really like working with her. I guess maybe we have maybe like similar like sarcastic humor personalities. And then so like it's her for, I just learned the other on Sunday night that it's her first seasonal job, and I was like, oh wow, I'm gonna have fun with this, because working a seasonal job, the nature of it is totally different than a regular job where you're like in a set location and people live in the area year round and stuff like that. So anyhow, there was an I'll say an exchange that I had with a person on Sunday night that I don't know. I'm not like, I want to be able to say like in future, like if something stands out to me like in terms of behavior, like in exchange with someone, it's probably because I wasn't like acting in my best and highest self, the person that I aspire to be. Gosh, I'm not a person of a high temper. I don't have a temper. I can withstand a lot, not to say that I'm a pushover or anything like that, but it's just like things don't have to be my way. And my way is not the only way, and my way is not the right way, and my way doesn't have to be your way, and your way doesn't have to be my way. I'm just more interested in doing what makes sense. And what makes sense like right now in a moment may not make sense later, and that doesn't mean to say that like my integrity or anything like that is volatile. It has nothing to do with that, but I do believe, what is it, that circumstances sometimes need to be considered as to how we engage in react, or not react, like, yeah, like how we engage with others, right? But what I'm saying is that I guess I striving, I want to through the entirety of my life, or for the most of it that I can remember, is be more in control of my actions and how it is that I respond to people. So I had an exchange with the person. It was on Sunday night, and I'm again in my Capricornus ways, I tend to obsess about things. I don't think a lot about, there's not a lot that really sticks with me. Meaning like I don't hold on to stuff, but if I do hold on to something, it's because I obviously there was something about that exchange that perhaps I could have done differently. Maybe just disregarded it, ignored it. So I've been thinking about that. So what that has brought me back to, I'm not going to really talk as to whom that person was and what the deal it was about, because it wouldn't make sense unless someone were coming from a food service background and you understand how personalities and exchanges can become heated very quickly. And then so I don't like to say that I snapped. And when I say snap, it's not like, oh, I fucking went postal or anything like that. I say if I snap, it's because meaning like I sassed someone, like I answered back to somebody, because that's not my usual behavioral pattern, I guess you could say. So like snapped at this person, and then so like that person said, okay, well, I'm not going to argue about it. I was like, well, I'm not arguing about it. I'm just telling you, you know what I mean? I'm not arguing about anything. And then so, but it's unusual for me to behave that way. But when I do, people get scared really fast. And so I was like, ooh, if I'm going to be working closely with this person, and I have before, um, and this is not the first time that this um type of exchange has happened with this type of with this particular individual, but it has occurred earlier on in the season maybe than what I was expecting. Normally, like, people start getting really testy like towards the end of the season because of the workload. You're just so tired and you're working so many hours, and people just seem to have lost their manners nowadays and stuff. And so like dealing with mass volumes of public, meaning like, customers and stuff like that, it can be, even though I do enjoy what I do, it still can be draining and exhausting. That is why I do take a lot of time to myself on my own time. I don't entertain a lot of people. Like, I have friends and stuff like that, but I mean coming over into my personal space, because there's a lot that I need to do in order to, I guess, like what is it, for the my personality type, I was like, to re-energize, and for to me to re-energize is for me to spend time by myself. I light my candles, I light my incense. When I'm on target, I do my journal and stuff like that. And that's a habit that I've had ever before it became popular. I've had a journal since I was like 9 or something. And so, but it's bringing me back, I guess, to, so that incident on Sunday. And I even talked with my mom about it, because I was just like, I don't know what I could have done differently. Is it that person? Is it me? But even if it were the other person and not so much me, because that person has similar exchanges with other individuals more often than I do with other individuals of that sort. Like, it's uncommon for me to have that type of exchange with other people, I guess you could say. So anyways, but that doesn't, uh back to right or wrong or whatever, that doesn't mean that it doesn't make me feel any better, even if someone were to be like, you know what, I do think it's the other person, because that person tends to have similar those types of exchanges with more people, as I just kind of said right now, with more people more frequently than I ever do. But I was like, okay, then. So, but that's not the issue. The issue is that it's bound to come up again. I'm going to be working with this person inevitably, you know what I mean? And then, so like, how do I deal with it going forward? And I don't want to make it, at the same time though, make it bigger than what it is, because the things that may are significant to one person and that stand out to one person are probably insignificant and passing and just a daily course for another person. So I'm over here like thinking about it. What could I do different, and analyzing, not super analyzing, but you know what I mean? Like just like analyzing what could I have done differently, like, you know, in the future, when, if, and when this happens again, how am I going to respond? When to the other person, it probably doesn't mean that's just the course of her day, you know. So but either way though, so again, it's taking me back to mindfulness. And so I'm here writing as to what it is that I'm going to do, like the things that I'm going to do, because this is going to happen very often. As again, as the season progresses, people get really testy, you know. Like we ran out, it's only day number 4, and we sold out like out of a number of things. So we're basically working like on a 3-person floor and having to do dishes, having, I mean, which is not unusual for us. But I was just like, hey, look it, I'm doing the best that I can with what I have available to me, and as fast as I can, as thoroughly as I can, as politely and nicely as I can, as I always do. So so I kind of that's kind of what I told the person. And then so I always work as fast as I can, you know what I mean? There's only so much that a person can handle. But anyways, again, it's bound to come up again in some future. And so I am back to mindfulness. I was like, I'm working on writing down the daily practices. It's like, what am I going to do to help me respond differently? And I'm not just saying in relation to this person, because I don't want to do the self-fulfilling prophecy, because obviously if I create an issue in my mind in relation to this person, then obviously, of course, something is bound to happen, because I've already thought that it's going to happen and preparing for something to happen with this person. And that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I want to basically kind of, yeah, like float through life. You know, I don't want to come home and think about any, like the exchanges that I've had through the day. I want to look back and, like, you know, enjoy the highlights. Hey, I had this really nice guest tonight, and I really enjoyed that conversation. You know, not everything's going to be perfect, but basically teach myself, which is something again I've been working on for the majority of my life, is teach myself like how to reframe things, teach myself how to think, like what rituals am I going to have and set and have in place that I practice so that they clear my mind. And so where that I am not easily, and this is gonna sound like kind of like hoodoo voodoo, but like where I'm not easily psychically attacked, I guess you could say. And what I mean by that is that I don't want anybody to invade my brain space. I want to be in charge of the thoughts that I have as to my reaction and behavior towards other people, that even if they're nasty, that I'm not that way. And that, oh, you like my evil eye back here? That I am in control of the way that I respond, no matter how it is that others may behave towards me. And I want to be proud of um my responses. So if I'm able to say how I say, like float through life and not think about things, meaning that I behaved in the highest, that I behaved as the highest version of myself at any moment that I possibly could have. And so that wasn't the case on Sunday. I'm not about interested in becoming petty with anybody or having any sorts of arguments or anything like that. But so with that, I am obsessing myself, I guess you could say, with putting practices and rituals into place, you know. And that one of those is I read daily and consume things, you know, auditorily, because I do spend a lot of time cleaning, like setting up and breaking down at the restaurant. So that's at least like 2 hours worth of learning. Like I'll say, yeah, 2 hours worth of learning that I engage in on an auditory level. Auditory level. I'm always reading books, content, and stuff like that. When I say content, informational content, like market stuff, like finances, thinkings. But now I'm gonna study classics. I'm gonna go back to like the Napoleon Hill, and there's what's the other guys, like Earl Nightingale, The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes. That is stuff that helped me once back upon a time like in 2006, where there was a lot of growth in my life. Like, but the thing is that I'm finding myself that I need to revisit those things. So that's where I'm at. And as far as finances go, I'm gonna visit and maybe even revisit, or some of the stuff. Actually, a lot of the classics I haven't, but I like what's one of the Intelligent Investor. I'm gonna follow what is it, like Warren Buffett and his career, his history. I'm a little bit familiar. I've read some. I tried reading one of his one of his autobiographies, but now I don't think that I was ready for it. But my point to that is that I don't want to deal with like little petty restaurant drama. I want to train my mind to think as highly successful individuals do. And as long as I'm engaging in these little petty arguments and bringing home, I mean, it's okay to check and analyze my behavior on occasion, but it's not what I want to think about, because again, I want to trust myself that I'm behaving in the highest version of myself at all times. And that starts with feeding my brain, with feeding my mind, having my practices in place, whatever those be. One of those practices has always been my coffee. It was like I have my coffee right here, my little recycled cup of my coffee, and my candle, and like some arts, crafts and stuff, things that I do. But I was just I don't know. I guess like I'm curious as to what your practices may be. What do you do to clear your mind, to bring you back to level, like, your base level, as to where you feel at peace with yourself? I don't usually have mind chatter. um and that's why I guess the exchange this past Sunday was especially bothersome, because I'm like, usually I literally operate like it's not how it's always been, but I've trained myself for it to become that way, and I like it that way, where I'm just dealing with the matter at hand. I don't have like these ulterior motives. I don't have these like additional thoughts aside from what is right before me. And again, I've worked purposely for that. And then so I hope that, and I don't really want to bring it up to the other individual, because she may not even, it may not have even registered to her, because that just might be part of her normal behavior. But so like I don't really want to bring up like something that, like a sour event, I guess you could say. And then so I don't know, but again, so back to practices, daily practices, I was like, it's going to be really important if I am to meet my money goals, if I am to meet my seasonal goals. And it's not $6,500 a month. If I want to save 30,000 between here and September 30th, it is $7,500 a month. So if I want to meet that money goal, then it requires that I grow into a different person, or a person that responds differently, that does things differently, that reacts differently. So that is why that is important to me. It's important to me because I intend that I grow into the person that I have in my mind. And so obviously me having these little petty catty exchanges with other people is not the person that I envision myself as. It's not the person that I want to be. Definitely not the person that is not growing. That's shrinking. And so I would really, really appreciate if you could tell me, share with me, what do you do to detox, to cleanse, to set those things aside, because I am hypersensitive. Most people don't think so. I was like, I'm sensitive. So maybe that's why that incident with that person touched on me so much, because I am sensitive, not thin skinned, but I'm more sensitive, I think, than maybe what others may realize. So please share with me. It'd be especially beneficial and to see if maybe there might be some practices like in daily energetic cleansing that I may not have considered before, that I'd be willing to introduce. I'm always not always looking for new things, but I cycle through things that work and don't work, given on the time and the season. So that's where I'm at right now. Thank you so much all for your time.